Rana, you as a Palestinian American and a Muslim have experienced this spin machine, I'm sure, throughout your whole life. Do you want to say something about how that has worked and how you perceive it?
Well, I think dealing with this issue in particular, I just thought it was really interesting to see how quickly it went down. You know, as soon as they were at the ships, there was media and coverage on the ship, but they took that property. They haven't released it. And the clips that they do release to the media are obviously clips that are going to help their image. So they're not portraying that even before they were on the ship that they were opening fire from. This is from the perspective of someone that was on the ship. They're saying that they opened fire before they even got on the ship, and then once they opened fire, and three of the first people that died, actually, they were trying to get medical attention, and they tried to get some of the Israeli officials to help them, and they were denied. So they died because of lack of communication, lack of humanity. I mean, just caring. And even going over there, I was in there in 2003, and just seeing these atrocities firsthand, seeing the children, the amputated children, seeing the bullet holes in the ambulances, just it's really.
This was when?
In 2003.
In 2003, long before
exactly.
The Gaza incursion in 2008.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's really horrible, and it's heartbreaking to see this kind of thing, because you see these people that are locked into this small space, 1.5 million, and they have no economy. They're living in poverty. They can't educate themselves because there's checkpoints in front of the schools. So how are these people? How do you expect these people to thrive? How do you expect these people to live a normal life when you're denying them every right that they should be able to have?
As a Palestinian American and a Muslim, how have you personally experienced the spin machine and the narrative control that Israel seems to have over the whole portrayal of this issue? I mean, have you felt labeled, characterized?
Of course. And you know, unfortunately, especially here, it's very easy for people to label Middle Eastern people terrorists just because of the way the media portrays any situation that happens in the Middle East in general. So it's very hurtful for people to portray us that way, just because I see what we go through on a daily basis, and I don't see that aspect of it. Yes, there are extremists in every religion, but it's very unfair to label Palestinians terrorists and tell the world that we are going in there because they have arms or because they're terrorists. Pretty much, that's exactly what they're saying, and that's not it. That's not it at all, because we're just trying to defend ourselves as a people, and we're being denied that as well. So we're being denied the right to do anything, pretty much. We can't defend ourselves because we're labeled a terrorist. We can't educate ourselves because they put checkpoints everywhere. We can't, have a decent economy even because of their siege on Palestine, on the West Bank, on Gaza, whatever you want to.
What was your understanding of the materials that were on board the ships, and for what purpose?
My understanding of the materials is that there were tons of just relief, food, medical supplies, and especially material to rebuild Gaza. So
from the bombing in
exactly,
2008.
And because of the siege, they haven't been able to rebuild their lives because of the siege. So that's the main point.
So that Israel would be accusing them of saying they're going to build some bunkers from which to attack. Is that what you think? Is what's this complaint about Israel is making, that there was material on there to aid the terrorist cause?
To my understanding, the contents were vouched for by the president of Turkey.
Okay.
And it was a
Yeah.
boat full of ambassadors
Yeah.
and diplomats.
Yeah.
I don't even see the cause for these kinds of
Yeah.
accusations. These are not people that left
Yeah.
with a suicide mission
Yeah.
in mind. These aren't people that went down with the intention
Yeah.
of dying.
I just read an article that said that there's a whole new growth in the American Jewish community of American Jews that are speaking out against the policies of Israel. Could you just tell us a little bit about that in 10, 15 seconds that we have left?
10, 15 seconds. Yeah, I think, and I've thought about this quite a lot, so I can't. I think the occupation of the State of Israel, by the State of Israel, speaks neither to our Americanism and sense of democracy, nor does it speak to the Jewish ideals of treating the stranger among us the best. So I think for a generation of myself and younger, who does not see Israel in a defensive posture, but who has grown up and is continually reminded over decades that the State of Israel is an occupying force, sees it for what it is, and is willing to speak up.
So it's not, AIPAC is not going to have the only voice in the future, you think? It's going to be another voice from the American Jewish community.
Absolutely.
Speaking loudly. Peace in the Middle East, I wish we had an hour to talk about it, but one of the Green Party stances is that has to be really worked out between Palestinian Arab Muslims and people in Israel, Jewish people, and by them. And the fact that the Zionist government gets in the way of this, the Zionist influenced government gets in the way of this and prevents that from being worked out is the real problem.
Okay.
The Green Party position is that should be worked out between the folks that are there, and that they probably could work it out in a flash if they didn't have this American military basis blank check that's given to Israel to do what it wants to do, called the Zionist project, but you know, that is supported by AIPAC. Thank you for being with us, Aaron and Rana. I appreciate it very much, and shalom, salam.
Salam.